As the charismatic frontman of the iconic rock band Queen, Freddie Mercury garnered millions of fans worldwide. As he once proclaimed, "I am not going to be a rock star, I am going to be a legend." True to his words, he indeed became a legend. However, while he lived an extraordinary life, his death remains shrouded in mystery. Mercury left us prematurely at the age of 45, succumbing to the unequivocal verdict of AIDS. What transpired in his final days? Were they marked by a void of comfort and hope? Or were they brimming with joy, laughter, and music? How does a rock star facing mortality spend those precious last days? Let's explore the final chapter in the life of Queen's renowned frontman and uncover the events that unfolded in his twilight moments. Born Farouk Bulsara in Tanzania in 1946, Mercury was not only a musical genius but also an intensely private individual who rarely granted interviews to the media. His personal life was shielded from the public eye, adding an air of mystery to the larger-than-life persona he portrayed on stage. The turning point came in 1986, when rumors began to circulate that Mercury had undergone testing for HIV/AIDS. Despite facing intense scrutiny from the press, he steadfastly kept his health concerns private, confiding only in his closest friends. In 1987, the devastating truth emerged as Mercury was diagnosed with a fatal disease. The revelation of his declining health prompted Queen to abruptly end the Magic Tour, a tour that had mesmerized over 1 million people. During this tumultuous time, Mercury, facing the harsh reality of his diagnosis, publicly denied having tested positive for the disease. Queen's guitarist, Brian May, reflected on the difficult reality faced by the band, saying, "When we did discover that Freddie had this terrible AIDS virus in his body, there was still a disbelief in us. You think, nah, it can't happen to our mate. It can't happen to Freddie. There's going to be some way out of this. He's going to be cured." And right up to the last minute, we knew, but we didn't know. We sort of refused to know, if you like. The emotional turmoil experienced by those close to Mercury underscores the difficulty of accepting the impending loss of a dear friend and bandmate. Mercury's innate shyness and discretion notwithstanding, the stigma surrounding HIV, then and now, remains a significant factor. This stigma is, in part, linked to the misconception that HIV disproportionately affects the LGBTQ community, particularly men who have sex with men. It's important to note that anyone can contract HIV, and dispelling myths and addressing misconceptions is crucial in fostering understanding and empathy. Freddie Mercury, ever enigmatic about his sexual orientation, left even his band members and collaborators in the dark, revealing his HIV-positive diagnosis only in the late stages. While he never explicitly disclosed his sexuality, those close to him knew of his relationships with both male and female partners over the years. Today, he is widely considered to have been bisexual. In an era where the public revelation of a rock star's sexual life could have potentially damaged their image, Mercury navigated the complexities of his personal relationships discreetly. Despite the need for secrecy in the limelight, he had 2 significant romantic relationships that emerged into the public eye. He was once engaged to Mary Austin, played by Lucy Boynton in the Queen biopic, and she remained a lifelong confidant and friend, inheriting the majority of his assets after his death, including his lavish London home and future recording royalties. Austin, though guarded, became a spokesperson of sorts for her former paramour. Additionally, Mercury maintained a romantic relationship with Jim Hutton, his hairdresser, from 1985 until his death. While the biopic Bohemian Rhapsody touches on Mercury's romantic history, it tends to sanitize his involvement in a gay subculture and downplays his booze and drug-fueled lifestyle. The film places a significant emphasis on his relationship with Austin, providing only a nod to his male partners. This selective portrayal led Sacha Baron Cohen, initially connected to the project, to drop out, due to concerns that it wouldn't delve into the full scope of Mercury's life. Despite Freddie Mercury's persistent denials, the media's scrutiny surrounding his health intensified, fueled by photographs that circulated in the British press depicting the singer as increasingly frail and thin. In one of his poignant final public appearances, the emaciated Mercury joined fellow band members Brian May, Roger Taylor, and John Deacon on stage at the 1990 Brit Awards in London. There, they accepted the Brit Award for Outstanding Contribution to Music, a testament to Queen's enduring impact on the music industry. Even as the "Don't Stop Me Now" singer continued to grapple with his illness in private, he didn't let it impede his work. In May 1991, a visibly thin Mercury featured prominently in the Queen music video for "These Are the Days of Our Lives," marking his final video with the band. During this period, the quartet made a poignant journey to a studio in Montreux, Switzerland, where they recorded their last track as a band with Mercury. Brian May reflected on the experience, saying, "We all knew there wasn't much time left. Freddie wanted his life to be as normal as possible. He obviously was in a lot of pain and discomfort." May went on to emphasize the significance of the studio for Mercury. For him, the studio was an oasis, a place where life was just the same as it always had been. He loved making music. He lived for it. This insight provides a glimpse into the unwavering passion and dedication Mercury maintained despite the challenging circumstances he faced. In the harrowing final months of Freddie Mercury's life, the relentless cruelty of AIDS unleashed sheer agony upon the iconic musician. Brian May, Queen's guitarist, revealed in an article for the Sunday Times the excruciating toll the disease took on Mercury's body. Most shockingly, Mercury had lost most of his foot to the ravages of AIDS. When May inadvertently caught a glimpse, Mercury, in his characteristic selfless manner, immediately apologized for the distressing sight. What stands out profoundly is Mercury's unwavering commitment to shielding others from the grim reality of his suffering. Despite enduring unbearable pain, he chose not to burden those around him, and not once did he lament his fate. His focus remained on crafting musical legacies, a testament to his indomitable spirit. Upon receiving his AIDS diagnosis, Mercury embarked on a determined journey, trying every available drug at the time to combat the disease. However, time was not on his side. The combined drug therapy that later extended the lives of AIDS patients arrived too late for Mercury. Reflecting on this, Brian May expressed the impossibility of dwelling on what-if scenarios, acknowledging the futility of such musings. Throughout his arduous battle with AIDS, Freddie Mercury maintained a stoic silence about the disease that was gradually consuming him. Even when breaking the news to his family, Mercury approached the topic with a subtlety that reflected his resilient spirit. The revelation occurred when his family noticed an unusual mark on his foot, prompting concern from his sister, Kashmira. It was then, in August 1990, that Mercury disclosed, "You have to understand that what I have is terminal. I'm going to die." As the grasp of AIDS tightened, Freddie Mercury confronted a pivotal moment on November 10, 1991. In an act of reclaiming control over his destiny, he made the courageous decision to cease all AIDS medications, opting only for painkillers to alleviate the relentless suffering. Having poured his heart into his music and contributions to Queen, Mercury faced the inevitable with a sense of acceptance. His last days were spent in his Kensington home, lying in bed and gazing at the cherished garden that had witnessed so much of his life. According to Vice, a dedicated support system surrounded Mercury during his final moments. Friends and aides took turns sitting with him in 12-hour shifts, ensuring he was never alone. Despite the physical toll, weak, half-blind, and in constant pain, Mercury found solace in the unwavering presence of those who loved him. Jim Hutton, Mary Austin, and other close companions became his chosen family, standing by him until the end. Within Mercury's inner circle, only his Queen bandmates and a select few were privy to the truth. Mary Austin, often described as the love of Freddie's life, was among the few allowed to see him in his final weeks. Elton John, a close friend, was informed of the diagnosis and shared the agony of witnessing Mercury's physical decline. Freddie's trusted personal assistant, Peter Freestone, played a multifaceted role as a confidant, bodyguard, and nurse during the singer's final months. Peter lived with Freddie at his Kensington home, Garden Lodge, offering comfort and support. Despite the challenges, the house remained a peaceful and comfortable place, with Freddie expressing his fears about AIDS and revealing his vulnerability. In a poignant moment, Freddie requested a final tour of his beloved home, commenting on his art pieces and reflecting on the memories associated with them. In the twilight of his life, Freddie Mercury yearned for one simple thing: peace. As the press and curious onlookers relentlessly pursued him, seeking details about his health and private life, Mercury's primary desire was to find solace and tranquility. Brian May, reflecting on that challenging period, shared, "He was pursued by the press and curious people. He just wanted peace and quiet, to be able to get on with what he did." Despite his wish for respite from the media, Mercury's hunger for music remained insatiable. Even in the face of his declining health, he expressed a fervent desire to continue creating. May recalled Mercury's persistent plea, saying, "He just kept saying, 'Write me more. Write me stuff. I want to just sing this and do it, and when I am gone, you can finish it off.'" He had no fear, really. Returning to London in early November 1991, Mercury confided in his bandmates, expressing, "I'm not feeling that great. I think I should call it a day. I'll finish it when I come back. Next time," as May recounted. Little did they know that this would be the final farewell. Tragically, the Somebody to Love singer never made that return. On November 23, 1991, Mercury took a profound step by releasing a statement, as reported by The Guardian at the time. In this poignant declaration, he finally confirmed the reality that had been shrouded in speculation. He had tested positive for HIV/AIDS. The statement read, "Following the enormous conjecture in the press over the last 2 weeks, I wish to confirm that I have been tested HIV positive and have AIDS." This revelation brought to light the personal battle Mercury had been silently waging. Expressing a commitment to privacy, Mercury explained, "I felt it correct to keep this information private to date to protect the privacy of those around me." Despite his typically guarded personal life, he acknowledged the importance of sharing the truth with his global community. However, the time has come now for my friends and fans around the world to know the truth, and I hope that everyone will join with me, my doctors, and all those worldwide in the fight against this terrible disease. Maintaining his stance on privacy, Mercury affirmed, "My privacy has always been very special to me, and I am famous for my lack of interviews. Please understand, this policy will continue." This firm declaration underscored his determination to control the narrative of his life, even in the face of a diagnosis that thrust him into the public eye in ways he had never anticipated. Tragically, on the very next day, November 24, 1991, Freddie Mercury passed away at his home in Kensington. The news sent shockwaves through the world, and mourners spontaneously created a shrine outside his residence. Graffiti messages lined the exterior wall of the house, a testament to the profound impact Mercury had on the lives of his fans. Brian May, grappling with the reality of Mercury's death, expressed his disbelief to the Telegraph. The loss of a friend, bandmate, and musical genius left an indelible void that resonated not only within Queen, but also throughout the global music community. Brian May, reflecting on the period leading up to Freddie Mercury's passing, shared the surreal nature of the situation, saying, "We were all wondering if it was an illusion and he was going to be cured. You can't really take these things in properly." Then we got the phone call. The uncertainty and hope lingering in the air created a sense of disbelief among the band members, who had been bracing themselves for the inevitable. "It was surreal," May continued to explain. "Even though we had been preparing for such a long time, it still didn't feel possible. The impending loss of their frontman, despite its inevitability, seemed almost inconceivable." May revealed that the reality truly struck when he saw the news on TV. "We all got together and talked and had a drink and then saw it announced on the TV. Strangely enough, that was when it seemed real for the first time. You thought, oh my God, he really has gone, and everybody knows now. It can't be taken back." Freddie Mercury's funeral was an intimate affair, attended only by close family and friends. Mary Austin, entrusted with his ashes, kept his final resting place a closely guarded secret for over 20 years. She cited fears that, in the climate of AIDS-related stigma in 1991, vandals might target the site. Mercury's decision to keep the location undisclosed underscores the challenges individuals faced during that era and the ongoing stigma associated with HIV/AIDS. Despite the passage of time, Mary has honored Freddie's wish, preserving the privacy he valued until the end. Freddie Mercury's heartbreaking final note for pal Elton John days before he died. Mercury's bond with Elton John, forged over years of friendship, took a poignant turn during the Queen frontman's heartbreaking final days. Elton, one of the select few allowed into Freddie's inner circle, witnessed the devastating toll AIDS took on his dear friend in 1991. In his memoir, Elton expressed the pain of seeing Freddie's health deteriorate, with the cruel illness leaving him frail, losing sight, and covered in Kaposi's sarcoma lesions. Despite the profound impact of Freddie's declining health, he sought solace in spending time with friends, including Elton, who, in turn, found it emotionally challenging to witness the toll on Freddie's body. Elton mused on whether Freddie realized the gravity of his imminent demise or chose to defy the circumstances, remaining the outrageous and lively personality they both cherished. Elton, determined to offer comfort and love, wanted Freddie to feel surrounded by care in his final moments. Their friendship had been a lifeline for Elton during his struggles with drug addiction, and Freddie played a pivotal role in persuading Elton to seek rehab for cocaine addiction amid the pressures of global fame. In the final 2 years of his life, Freddie opted for near-total seclusion, a stark departure from his life in the spotlight. Even his best friend and fellow singer Peter Straker was kept in the dark about Freddie's diagnosis, highlighting the singer's commitment to protecting those around him. Despite the gravity of his condition, Freddie managed to buy thoughtful Christmas presents for his loved ones, ensuring they were delivered after his passing. Freddie Mercury's final Christmas gift to Elton John was a poignant testament to their enduring friendship. In a touching gesture, Freddie selected a painting by Henry Scott Tuke, a favorite artist of the Candle in the Wind singer, as a token of their shared connection. The artwork, wrapped in a pillowcase, was accompanied by a heartbreaking note that revealed their cherished drag queen alter egos, with the inscription reading, "Dear Sharon, I thought you'd like this. Love, Melina. Happy Christmas." This intimate exchange was a nod to the playful nicknames they had given each other, reflecting the depth and uniqueness of their bond. Despite facing the debilitating effects of AIDS and being in the final days of his life, Freddie's thoughtfulness extended beyond his own comfort. Elton remarked, "By all rights, Freddie should have spent those final days concerned only with his own comfort, but that wasn't who he was. He truly lived for others." Freddie's passing on November 24, 1991, left a profound void, and weeks after his funeral, Elton received this unexpected Christmas gift. The emotional impact of the gesture was evident as Elton recalled the moment. "I was moping about when a friend showed up at my door and handed me something wrapped in a pillowcase. I opened it up, and inside was a painting by one of my favorite artists, the British painter Henry Scott Tuke. and there was a note on the front from Freddie. The note, signed as Melina, showcased Freddie's enduring ability to bring joy and warmth to those around him, even in the face of his own mortality. Elton, then 44 years old, was moved to tears, reflecting on the beauty of the man he considered a dear friend. In recounting the story, Elton emphasized, "As sad as that moment was, it's often the one I think about when I remember Freddie, because it captures the character of the man. In death, he reminded me of what made him so special in life." Freddie Mercury's untimely death in 1991 undoubtedly left the world yearning for more, especially considering Queen's surprisingly robust output through that year. Brian May, Queen's guitarist, reflected on their close-knit group, stating, "We were a very close-knit group like a family, and we would work in the studio until Freddie got tired." In the wake of Freddie Mercury's passing, the remaining members of Queen paid tribute to their legendary frontman at a benefit concert held in April 1992 at Wembley Stadium. The concert drew an audience of about 72,000 and featured an impressive lineup of artists, including Elton John, David Bowie, George Michael, Seal, Annie Lennox, Robert Plant, Axl Rose and Slash, Liza Minnelli, and others. The proceeds from the concert went to the launch of the Mercury Phoenix Trust, an AIDS charity organization honoring Mercury's legacy by contributing to the fight against the disease. This poignant gathering of musical talents underscored the profound impact Mercury had on the industry and showcased the solidarity of the music community in addressing the global HIV/AIDS crisis. While there was skepticism about Mercury concealing his sexuality and diagnosis for an extended period, it becomes apparent in retrospect that he chose to exit life on his own terms. In one defiant interview, he declared about Ging, "I really don't care. I've lived a full life, and if I'm dead tomorrow, I don't give a damn." This statement reflects Mercury's resolute acceptance of his mortality and his commitment to living life on his own terms, a sentiment that resonates with the enduring legacy he left behind. In the tapestry of Freddie Mercury's life, this final act of generosity toward Elton John illuminates the essence of a man who, even in the face of his own mortality, radiated warmth, love, and a boundless spirit. What memories of Freddie Mercury resonate most with you? Comment below and join our community in celebrating the extraordinary life and legacy of this musical icon. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more insightful contents. Thank you for being part of our community. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.